Before we start looking at JavaScript, let's clarify some HTML and CSS terms. Note how HTML attributes and CSS properties use name and value pairs. HTML elements are added to the content of the page to describe its structure, and elements consist of an opening and closing tags plus its content. Tags usually come in pairs with an opening tag and a closing tag. There are a few empty elements with no content, like image tags, for instance, and they contain self-closing tags. Opening tags can carry attributes, which tell us more about that particular element. Attributes generally have a name and a value. The value is usually given in quotes. So if we look at this example of an HTML tag, you can see here I have an H2 tag. Here's the opening tag, and here's the angle bracket that designates the end of the opening tag. Here's the closing tag. It's prefaced by a /. The opening tag contains an attribute. In this particular example, it's using an attribute name of class, and then the attribute value is assigned and it exists inside quotation marks. So this is the attribute value. CSS, on the other hand, uses rules to indicate how the contents of one or more elements should be displayed in the browser. Each rule has a selector and a declaration block. The CSS selector indicates which elements the rule applies to, and the declaration block contains rules that indicate how those elements should actually appear. Each declaration in the declaration block has a property, this is the aspect that you want to control, and a value, which is the setting for that particular property. So in this particular example, you can see that my selector is a class name of special. Classes are always prefaced by a period, and if you're using IDs, they will be prefaced by a hash mark. This is the declaration block, and the declaration block contains the property name, in this case color, and then the property value, in this case yellow. You can see that the property name and the property value are separated by a colon, and when you're done declaring the property value, you need to terminate that particular declaration block with a semicolon. So this consists of a CSS rule. Obviously, this is just a really quick reminder to get you up and running with some specific terms that we'll be talking about. If these things aren't already familiar to you, then I suggest that you go ahead and do some more review in regards to HTML and CSS, because those particular items are going to become very important in our course, and you'll definitely need to be able to understand how to create an HTML page and how to style it with CSS. Remember that HTML defines the content or the structure of the web page. CSS is how the things on the web page are going to appear. So I like to think of HTML as the skeleton, and then I like to think of CSS as the clothing. You can easily change your clothes and put on different colors and or combinations of outfits, and that's how CSS essentially works. Once we have that structure and the design look of what we want on the web page, then we can enhance it with JavaScript.